Assalamu alaikum.
Salam.
Mr. Jermaine Jackson.
How are you?
Alhamdulillah, I'm very well. Yourself?
I'm good.
Good.
I'm good.
Looking very fine as always.
Thank you.
Those tips I gave you are obviously paying off.
So are you.
JC Penney.
Dolce.
Dolce, exactly. Great to have you back again. What, third appearance now on the show?
Yeah, this is the third time.
Can't get enough.
Can't get enough. The feeling is good.
It's been a long time now since we last sat down and chatted. There's been so much going on. What's been happening?
There's a lot been going on. We've been, well, I've been just being, supporting the family through all the things that have happened in our family within the last 2 years.
How are the family bearing up now since sad passing?
Well, it's tough. We're holding on to each other. That's when family is most important. When you lose someone, you find the comfort within each other. Mm-hmm. So that's what we've been doing, and just taking a day at a time, really.
They're a remarkable family, amazing parents. And I think now everything has come together quite nicely. There's a lot of show of unity and bonding amongst the family at the moment.
Yeah, well, we travel many different places individually. When we were the Jackson 5, we were always together. When we were touring with Michael and touring around the world, we were always together. But then we're asked to do things individually, so we have to go out and do things. You travel a lot, I travel quite a bit, and we have family date over. We all come back together, and we all have the kids over, and we have food and everything.
I'm sure you've got many children.
Don't say many.
Many. Well, okay.
I have 7.
You have 7, which is many.
Yeah.
Right.
No, I could have 17, but I have 7.
You have 7. Oh,
yeah,
there's still time. There's still time. Alhamdulillah.
There's probably 2 more coming.
Inshallah.
Yeah.
Make it possible. And I know that the two, Jérmין and Your Majesty, great
Jafar
kids.
and Your Majesty.
Jafar and Your Majesty, apologies. Yeah. Both, mashallah, very talented young men. You're now producing them.
Yes.
Tell us a bit about that.
I'm working with them in the studio. The first time I took them in the studio, they fell asleep. and I said, guys, listen, we didn't fall asleep during the Jackson 5 days, so you all got more work to do. But they were really, really good. They weren't afraid, they weren't nervous, and I was very much satisfied with what we came out with. So it inspired me to do more. And so I'm working with them on some music. Their sound is a lot like what we did during the Jackson 5 days.
Because your time in music, your childhood growing up, and especially in the industry as well, is quite regimented as well, in the way that you were raised, but also in the way that you performed. You came together as a group. There's nothing wrong with that. It's great. How do you think it's changed now? Because you said that Jafar, Your Majesty's fallacy. Do you think things have changed? Do you think it's sort of eased off? Do you think that perhaps artists these days aren't taking it as seriously as they should be?
No, well, that is true. We worked very, very hard, and I think artists today, they don't know that you really have to put a lot into it to get out high standards. The rehearsing, on and on and on, and just making sure that is on a level that is different from everybody else. And that was our thing, creating that mystique and that magic. And I tell Jafar and Your Majesty, if you want to achieve great things, you have to work hard at it. You have to put a lot of time into it, because they don't understand how come I make them do something over and over again, because you have to do it where it feels natural. And it feels good because there are many people listening, and they can tell whether it's real or not.
I remember you telling a story some time back when I first interviewed you about your father and how he made you carry bricks, move bricks from one side of the yard to the other side of the yard.
Yes, yes.
Is that a similar sort of thing that you're talking about?
Well, not.
Was that a punishment?
Not so hard, no. See, my father was raised like the old-fashioned way, where you did something wrong, you got a spanking. You were told to do certain things, and you knew what your chores were, and you did that. And if you didn't do it, you were in trouble. Moving those bricks from one corner to another, really, we owe it all to the bricks, because that's what kept us grounded. That's what kept us that's what taught us how to follow orders, the respect for the family. When you're told to do something, do it exactly that way. And that's what he was trying to put in us as young children. When you're asked to do something, do it exactly like that. And that's a lesson to be learned. And when you go out in the world, when you work for other people, you have to be a man of your word. And if you say you're going to do something, you have to do it with respect. And so he had us moving bricks and everything, and then we realized when we got older what that was for. See, kids today, they have so many things to entertain them with all the new technology and all the different shows that are on television, and it's no more like using your brain and using your natural skills, or just using your athletic with your body. They sit up and they play video games. They do the texting and the this and the that. So we grew up where we played sports. We ran out. We ran, and we just the physical education is so important. Yeah,
and it wasn't glued in front of the television.
It's so important. It's so important because it keeps you healthy, and that's why a lot of kids are obese today, too.
Absolutely.
Plus the food.
Absolutely. Have you? I suppose the other thing is, have you actually been back to Gary, Indiana since?
Yes.
This year?
Yes, my mother went back and we did some filming back there for the show. And my part was, I was supposed to be in California, which I stayed out, but they redid the house there, and my mother went back because she, I guess right when Michael passed, she wanted to sort of go back in time. Yeah, and she stayed there for a long time. She stayed in her old room, and it was very emotional, really, because I felt that she was just thinking back and hearing him running around the house and laughing and what he used to do when he was young. But Gary's our home. That's where it all started, 2300 Jackson Street.
If you were to think of one of your fondest memories from being in Gary, Indiana, what do you think that would be?
Humble beginnings, a small house, the size of a 2-car garage, and mother and father that really were just showing the love and the care and the respect for us all the time, knowing where we were at all times. And that's why we hold on to that.
I mean, I can see that in the way that you are with your kids as well. They're extremely, mashallah, very well behaved as well.
Thank you.
You embraced Islam late 80s, and I think back then perhaps the climate of fear about Islam was perhaps very different than it is today. What do you think, what are the changes you think you've noticed in that time that you came to Islam until this time?
Islam is the fastest growing religion in the U.S. still. And I think it's because people, they feel the pureness, they feel the sincereness, and it's so much being said against Islam in the media and even in Hollywood in the films. But I think it's because of how pure it is and how real it is. It's winning the hearts of a lot of Americans because they're curious as to what it is. Something that they don't understand that gets their attention, but then when they feel and they meet, like I meet people who are, we started off with Jehovah's Witnesses and they ask me questions, and they find that there are a lot of similarities. And but it's been such a negative kind of a dark shadow put on Islam because of the extremists and all that stuff, which I don't like to go into that. But my whole just my feeling of it is that what it's done for me, it has really gave me a sense of where I'm going and the true values, which I never value material things in the first place, but I think just losing a brother and realizing that how much he achieved when he was on this earth, and none of that stuff he could take with him, what he took with him was his good deeds, all the things he's done for people, and he's done so much for people through his message, through his music, through his time on this earth. So I know he's with Allah. I know that. At first when he passed, I didn't understand, because I felt him, I touched him, I laughed with him, I traveled with him all my life, and to feel that he's not around anymore. But then I realized that was a shell. His spirit is very much alive. And I kind of feel him more times than others. Like, we used to like say funny things, like do funny things, like when I did the banana thing with you and the almonds. We used to do that all the time, and I kind of feel when I do funny things by myself now, I kind of feel that he's laughing somewhere, because he called me Erms, and I used to just crack him up all the time, just to make him laugh all the time, and I feel that that has helped me. Is healing, but we're still mourning, really, very much.
As
so.
with any bereavement, it will always take time, I suppose, especially.
It takes a lot of time.
You know, you guys you pretty much were around each other 24/7 as you were growing up.
Yes.
You shared a lot of shared memories together. You performed together. I mean, it's hard.
Yeah. Plus, when you look at things that were said about Michael when he was on this earth, and I really want people to know that my brother was one of the greatest people you could ever meet, because God blessed us all with a talent, and he used that talent the right way. He used it to give back to other people, and not to just sing it, but to be active, physically active, and go visit orphans and kids who are dying, and he did the work of a Muslim. That's the work he did. And even to the day he died, his last words to the band was, "Let's be concerned about the planet. We only have so much time." That's who Michael Jackson was, not all these horrible things they painted of him and these things they've said. That was the sensationalism, the things to create news and talk. And
well, bad news sells, gossip sells, and really that's all it was.
Yeah.
They picked an easy target. Someone was extremely successful in what he was doing. He was from an ethnic community, from a black community, and so he was an easy target for many people.
Yeah, but see, I say it all the time. The world cried when my brother passed, not because of the entertainer he was, because of the message and what he was doing. He was a great entertainer, but he was a much bigger humanitarian and just a person who really believed that we can change this world if we all come together and look at each other as one, and we look at the ways to achieve peace and to have love for mankind and one another.
With coming from perhaps one of the most well-known families in the world, one of the most well-known musical families in the world, you wear Islam on your sleeve, and it's always apparent wherever you are in public. So how have those around you who get to know you, who know that you're Muslim, how do they react, especially in light of what's been going on in the last few years?
I think once they realize that I haven't changed and I've been the same person that I've always been, it says, I feel that I'm representing Islam the best way that I can, but I do a very good job, because I found peace within myself, and I'm like the person that they always felt that I was knowing, and they've all heard that I've become a Muslim, but it hasn't changed their feelings towards me, which says a lot about Islam too. But it's...
what would you say the common types of questions that they come to you and say, well, look, it seems that as you are Muslim, answer this for me. What are the types of questions that they'll come to you with?
Like, do you believe in Christ? And they want to know a lot about the fasting and Ramadan and...
4 Wise.
Yeah, and of course, they ask about the wife thing, and it's all kind of questions.
Yeah.
But I always I brought Michael a lot of books when I went to Saudi the first time, and he reads everything. The greatest thing that has happened since then, my sister Janet, my wife and I, we gave her a Quran, and she's been reading a lot, and it's so cute to hear her say inshallah, and if I slip, because we're all human, she said, "Ooh, Jermaine, you're not supposed to be saying that." So she gets on me, but she is so sweet. She's been really, really serious about Islam, and that's really good. And I'm working on my mother, but that's going to be hard.